Hi everyone. My name is Casimir, and I'm joined by Diego and Almut. And we're three students from the Masters in Digital Business and Innovation at IME Madrid. And we're very happy today to have an interview with Paula, who kindly agreed to answer some questions about the topic of screenwriting and AI. We're very excited about that. Paula is the co-founder of ScriptDoc, which is now in its eighth year, right? I think it just had its
hmm
eighth birthday. Um, she's originally an actress, but now got this cool initiative of ScriptDoc into life, which basically gives a platform to screenwriters and gives them great learning opportunities. So welcome, Paula. How did you get into screenwriting in the first place? Like, when did you switch from becoming an actress from being an actress to becoming passionate about screenwriting?
Yeah, it's kind of a coming of age story with
Mhm.
movies, where, when you watch a movie, you see the actors, and it seems like it's all coming from them. Like it's they're doing everything. They're the magic, right? And yeah, I thought like, okay, that much aliveness, that's something I want to experience too. So I went to study acting in the States. But
Mhm.
then when I practiced it, when I was actually involved in productions and theater and film productions, I realized, oh, okay, no, there are like hundreds of people involved in creating this magic. And the core also for the work as an actor is shaped in the script because you really have to have a blueprint for the film that you're making. Like if you're an architect, you can't just, if you build a bunch of bricks, it's not going to be a house. Like you have to have
Totally.
a map, a blueprint of what you're going to make. And that is really crucial for the shape it's going to have and for the impact it's going to have. And then I thought like, yeah, I want to have that in my hands. Like I want to work with that magic really and shape what the film is going to be.
Absolutely. That's so cool. And then you now you founded ScriptDoc, right? So getting
Yeah,
a
and
chance to
then
create magic for for other
right, right,
screenwriters.
right. Well, script doc comes from the situation of being an outsider to the industry. I mean, I studied acting in New York, but I didn't know many people in Germany, and I wanted to get traction. I wanted to break into the industry, meet people, talk with them about stories, get feedback for my texts. And I thought, like, I can't be the only one. I can't, like, that it's impossible that I'm the only one trying to break into like a pretty closed and hard to enter environment. So I thought, like, okay, if we get together, this is going to be so much easier because we can give each other feedback on our texts and we can pool our connections and we can pool our expertise. And also, this is part of the digital age that we spoke about a
Mhm.
little bit. There is the blacklist in the United States, and that really transformed a bit the market for scripts because
Mhm.
it did was it made data available and visible, like which scripts had been well received
Mhm.
by a bunch of professional readers. So just by making data visible, these scripts actually got more traction. And even if the writers were outsiders and no names to the
Mhm.
industry, if 10 professional paid readers had all felt like, yeah, that's a good script, it just got more credibility. So I wanted to start this in Germany to really, yeah, make this currency of expertise, because I think it is like a currency, not just based on who you know, but who is really like, how many people have loved your stuff, basically. That was the core idea.
Wow. That is so exciting, to be honest. I think that the you already mentioned one of the core aspects that we wanted to ask you about, which
Yeah.
is having screenwriting as on the one hand a creative process, but also as having a sort of structure behind screenwriting. So
Yeah.
maybe could you just to introduce us there, could you guide us a bit through the screenwriting process, what it usually looks like for you?
Thought a lot about optimizing the process
Hmm.
because, you don't want to have all these loops and circles and of course I went through all of that. So um basically we structured the script doc um term around starting to read scripts, like reading
Hmm.
published and filmed and awarded like really high quality scripts in different genres and investigating the mechanisms of
Hmm.
each genre. And then kind of like copying painters, if you want to start to draw, you start drawing maybe something from the masterpieces. We also start writing scenes in that tonality, in
Hmm.
that movie, basically, or in that series. And I found that to be a really good shortcut in understanding what a scene is and
Hmm.
understanding what different genres are. And it's really something that every professional should do in one way because the the genres are quite different. Like, and if you want to
Hmm.
break into something that you've not done that often, it's really good to learn from the best in that genre. But also for beginners or students who just want to try stuff, and there they go. They have something that is accessible and doable, actually.
Hmm.
And the next step is that we spend 1 month on the conception phase, like just pure concept.
Hmm.
And I've created it thus that we start with like, kind of like, how do you call that? Where you throw darts at, like the
Oh,
bullseye.
like a dartboard. Hmm.
Yeah. So we start with the external circle, which is the world, like in which world is something actually taking place, and what are the rules of that world? Like, what are the invisible powers at play? Like, who is high
Hmm.
up in rank, who is low, who's dependent, who is in charge? And just to really investigate the invisible mechanisms of the world that we want to create in.
Hmm.
The next layer is the tonality. I mean,
Okay.
this is, I think, especially valid for series, not so much maybe for feature films, but series I'm really passionate about. So,
Hmm.
from everything that I've seen, it's really the point of view on this world that we have. Like that has to be part of the writing. And then the next layer is the characters, of
Hmm.
course, like the main figures in it, and getting to know them and their weaks and strengths, and also already like who's pulling and in which direction, like to get tension between them
Hmm.
and find out what their individual goals are, like missions and wants and needs and all of that interesting stuff. And the bullseye is really something that goes through all the other layers, and that is the central conflict.
Hmm.
Central conflict that's within each character, like, or within the characters externally and internally, what's inside the tonality and what's inside the world.
Hmm.
So yeah, that to me is like the core. And if that ripples through all the other layers, then it's like a strong vision.
Wow.
And the third month that we work towards getting an actual script is the actual writing. Like the third month is a month-long marathon where um, people get together with their individual goals.
Hmm.
And I encourage them, and I also participate. I do this twice every year to just write through a story beginning, middle, and end. And
Wow.
to just go, okay, everything I don't know yet, I'm gonna make it up on the go, and I might make mistakes and it might turn out crap, but I have to keep moving forward. I can't overthink. I can't be too perfectionistic. I have to just continue to put something out there. And then by the end, you don't have a perfect script. Like that's totally clear. That's not the point of it. Like we say goodbye to this right away. Like, but by
Hmm.
the end, you have discovered so much through making a lot of decisions, which you have to make in order to create and move a story forward. Yeah, that's the basic framework. And then once you have a first draft or like a zero draft, then you can get feedback. Then you can really shift things around in your mind and then build the actual script. Like that's the last step of creating something that you can then present
Wow.
to an audience of producers
Mhm.
and try to sell it and try to pitch yourself as a writer.
Nice. Okay, so you basically got all the steps covered, like the whole process covered.
Yeah.
Do you usually have people come to you with an idea, like a very strong idea already, or do you like really develop it throughout the process?
Well, what happens is most people that join ScriptDoc have some experience
Mhm.
with either acting or journalism or like they are creatives already. And
Mhm.
and now they feel like, oh, I have a story to tell that I want to put into a script that I think should be a movie. And usually those stories are personal.
Mhm.
Like there's something in it that only they can tell. And then I kind of help them to be strong in that and like what's their personal intention because we're so cluttered with movies, right, that we have all seen, and it's so tempting to do something that maybe James Cameron has done or, like Tarantino has made, and it's so easy to just try to copy paste your way into success and my job really what I see as the task that no artificial intelligence can do is to find out, okay, what's in this human being? Like, what is their lived experience? Why do they want to create? Why do they want to make this visible? What is their core experience like? And how can we declutter it from,
Mhm.
I should do this, and if I do that, then it's going to be cool, and all that.
But would you say that throughout the steps that you described, is that like also very different from person to person? Like, are the creative processes very different from how you approach that, or is it like sort of similar for everyone?
Well, I mean, since I created this process and I'm telling people it works, and I believe it works because I've tried it so many times, I don't know what their processes are outside of that.
Okay.
It's just like this framework of, okay, every week you have one task to solve. So you don't get
Mhm.
like too caught up and to just really make it that commitment to solve this one task per week.
Mhm.
And yeah, my experience with that, it's so much more doable than if you are without a structure and you try to jump, to the final product too soon. Like that's a super common mistake of just rushing it, like trying to find like the perfect plot. While I think the experience has taught me that the plot is really kind of the last thing to worry about.
Really? Okay. That's very interesting. I'll keep that in mind actually.
Yeah. Yeah, you should join. Totally. Come on.
Absolutely, I would love to. Because I'm also very like from the screenplays that I've written, it's been very unorganized. So that's
hmm
why it's super interesting to hear that you're having this sort of structure that works.
hmm
But cool, very nice. Okay.
Yeah, and it's doable for anyone, even if you study or work full time, it's just something that you can always squeeze in and that you also get feedback along the way, which is really helpful in order to, yeah, to just feel like this is a performing art, This is something that people are actually going to watch and read. And I'm publishing something every week. Like I'm not just writing it for my desktop and but
Totally.
somebody's going to read it and are they going to like it? And can I really like have the effect that I want to have? Did they laugh? Did they, and I think that's so important because otherwise I also as a creative I feel too alone, like I don't know, like is this having an impact, does it land in the person's spam folder that I'm sending it
Totally.
to, what's going on?
Wow. So communication and like having this access really supports you throughout the whole process, right? So you're
Yeah.
not someone who like writes on their own the whole time and then as me
No.
never publishes it. But
Yeah, that's the other
really,
thing. I mean, the big difference between screenwriting and writing a novel is that in screenwriting, you are in a collaborative art form. And
Mhm.
even if you're an expert on dramaturgy and creating characters and yes, dialogues and plots and all of those things, you still have to think about a lot of other professions, including the financial aspects of filmmaking. Like, is there an audience for this? Who is that audience? What do they like? What do they usually find boring? Like, just to also keep that in mind. And yeah, that's like this balancing act between expressing who you really are. I
Mhm.
believe in that strongly, but also in a way that you're in a relationship to your target audience.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't, like, if I'm writing for a younger audience, I wouldn't tell them all that stuff about motherhood and da 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 da. But I could address them in a way that I'm really relating to them and their phase of life.
Mhm. That totally makes sense. Absolutely. I think that also leads us already to a very like interesting aspect concerning the hype topic Gen AI in
Yes.
screenwriting. The whole communication part, of course, is one of the main concerns, I would say, right? Um, but maybe just as a little intro to the topic of AI, how do you use it, or what do you use it for at the moment? Do you use it at all?
Yeah, I sometimes use it. Because I think, like, to preface that, like, I think intelligent people are inherently lazy. It
Mhm.
might look tempting and shiny at first, but it's kind of like a, I think like fake money, like a fake
Mhm.
currency. You know, if you flood the market with all this like super easy money, then everybody's like, ah, yeah, we can get some, we can get some. But at the same time, it doesn't hold real value. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, yeah, it's like a counterfeit currency. And I think it's going to collapse and deflate after a while.
Fair enough.
And so I'm not using it for images. And I have been using it as a sparring partner when I hit like a block or when I just feel like, oh, I have to do this, but I don't want to. And then I'm like, okay, ChatGPT, do it. And then it's always like always this back and forth with it is always that I find it's doing everything wrong. Like
Mm. Mhm.
it's never giving me the result I want. It's always giving me like a worse cliched, watered down, blah blah version. And but that makes me go, okay, so what do I actually want? So I
Mhm.
don't want that. What do I actually want to say? And that's
Mhm.
helpful.
Okay. So you're actually using ChatGPT to see what you're what you should be doing and what it is doing wrong. That is.
Yeah, yeah, no, but it's not consciously, you know, it's that whole thing like, oh shit, I have to have an idea and I don't. And then, okay, it's like this lazy shortcut. I'm sure like all the students in high school right now are using it that way, right?
Very
Or
true.
in university even too, like, oh, homework and I gotta do it. And oh, let me go to ChatGPT.
We are not, of
Then,
course. If our professors are watching, we are not using it. No, just kidding.
no, of course. And I understand it so much. Like if there's a task to fulfill and it could be done in 5 minutes and be over with, yes. Like it's so human to be like, come on, do it. But then as a creative professional, I would never like accept the results and put my name on it and send that out and see it made because it's so bad. Like there's no way with that. Like by pure mathematical standards, that's average. That's not extraordinary. That's not innovative by design. Like, and I'm sure you can, if you prompted really interesting prompts, it might have to bend its,
Mhm.
pattern a little bit. But really, it's more for me to see what the average would be and then to
Mhm.
deviate from that.
Okay, interesting. Because I've heard a lot that people are using it to also reflect a bit on themselves, like who they are, or like it kind of gives back what you give it, right? So
Hmm.
I've been thinking that's very interesting, but I totally see what you mean.
It's like reflecting back to you what you want to say and how to say it in the best possible way. But like I would be very careful and also caution everybody who uses it as a substitute for human love and appreciation and human also struggle or conflict because it's like it's synthetic. It's not the real thing.
Very true. I totally agree with you. It still concerns me that it's like on the rise so much at the moment, it feels like.
Hmm.
What would you say? Have you seen like that strong move towards Gen AI already? Or do you think there's like the acceptance isn't that high amongst screenwriters or amongst industry professionals?
I think it's a mix, what I see in the industry. Some people are running towards it and embracing it, others are rejecting it. Um, some are, I guess, undecided or cautious about it. And I do think it's a bubble and
Hmm.
it's going to get bigger and it's going to destabilize a lot of things. Like we really have to look into our rights, like as creatives to get copyright protection, that not
Yeah.
everything that we write can be like used by large language models and emulated. And as human beings, we also need to have all these rights in place that our images and our data and it really belongs to us, not the
Hmm.
big, guzzling up machine out there, or not the people who actually profit of it, but it's ours. So I think like, yeah, that's the task of democracy, of really like getting rules and regulations in place and also watermarking fake videos, that it's just like so disorienting if anything could be real or fake. Like it's so destabilizing that I think, has to be one of the next steps to just be really clear of what is AI and what is not. And I think that's a process that's probably going to happen in the next 10 years with like
Hmm.
some shakes and some bumps and some disruptions too, like really destabilizing some democratic processes. And I don't think it's going to be a huge like benefit
Okay.
and the bottom line to humanity. I think we're gonna, it's like the fake money. We're gonna see it's too cheap, it's too fast, it's too easy. We're gonna get tired of it and it's gonna collapse.
Okay. That is a very fair point. I could totally see that vision as well, to be honest. But do you see any like positive aspects to it that we could right now like integrate into the screenwriting process where you think, wow, that would be super beneficial?
Yeah, I think like it's there already with it. Anytime you feel like, oh, I'm stuck, can I
Mhm.
ask someone about it? Go hit ChatGPT. Why not? Like, but discern, like that's and that's probably the hardest part, especially growing up in the digital age, is to really discern is who am I
Mhm.
really? And what do I really want? And not to get too like swayed and lured and addicted. Like it can be like I have an Instagram addiction that I'm fighting.
I
Like
think we
just
all do.
beware of where you create
Yeah.
addictive patterns, right? And yeah, for example, the with Instagram, I'm using an app. It's like giving me only 5 hits a day. And I'm comparing it to 5 cigarettes. It's like, here's my he's my moment of like, oh, I can just scroll and be, you know, have my little hit of dopamine and have my break. And that's so similar. But I've been around for long enough to know, okay, that used to be cigarettes, and I got through that. And now it's social media, or next is maybe some kind of chat GPT companion that guides me through everything. So just to be aware of what is really empowering and what is actually addiction and disempowering.
Okay, wow. That's very like interesting to keep in mind, especially for our process now. And we have the task of integrating it, right? So or integrating technology into screenwriting process. So maybe as a final question, do you have a recommendation for us? Like where could you see us integrate, or you've already said where you could see us integrating it, but what should we consider maybe in your opinion?
Well, what I'm thinking about, and this is something maybe we can join our expertises about,
Mhm.
is how to create a ChatGPT assistant for the screenwriting process for the writer's room that
Mhm.
is especially programmed and designed for this process and
Mhm.
that protects copyrights, that doesn't feed like individual text to the whole world, but
Mhm.
where it's actually sandboxed technology, where
Mhm.
within that frame, the data is used, but it doesn't leak, so to
Mhm.
speak. And how to train it to have a constructive impact on the creative process.
Mhm.
Like, not to train it to give all the answers, but to train it more in like the coaching that I do, for example, which is like asking the right questions, um, bringing structural suggestions on how to put something into a coherent order that
Mhm.
somebody hasn't really like made the figure it out yet or has in a like dramaturgical not optimal arrangement, like just to yeah, make it supportive and not creative. That's kind of that would be my suggestion if you want to build something.
Absolutely.
Then let's share it.
Let's do it. Totally. No, very exciting. Amazing. Cool. Well, that was my last question actually. So I think that's a very exciting takeaway, having a sort of Gen AI assistant as an enhancing feature, but that obviously can't replace human creativity. And I'm very excited to look into that deeper now. So I think I can, in the name of the three of us, say big thank you to you.